This is what happens before Vlog Thursday. So welcome to Vlog Thursday, but we move things because these are projects and these are what happens before Vlog Thursday. So,
so you see the behind the scenes setup a little bit of Vlog Thursday, which now I got to move this over to the hair because it's got a point right between us.
We got this.
All right, we have this.
Good morning and happy Vlog Thursday.
That too. To all 10,100 some odd number of you, thank you very much for subscribing. We love it. Gotta get the Big B cup right in there framed. This is important. He's repping Timmy Hose.
Well, they're easier to stop at. Earl, get a drive-through, which I think you're working on. But
yeah, if Earl's watching this. I actually sent Marvin some topics, and I wanted to talk about, because we've had so much bad news about Equifax. Well, there's just so much bad news about Equifax, so it's not our fault. We just... But, so, I posted on Facebook, and if you haven't seen it, just the Equifax Monopoly guy.
It's so worth it.
It's so worth it.
So absolutely worth it.
Yeah, the Monopoly person had so much fun. I don't know how it all occurred or how that occurred, but Senate hearings are... either enraging or boring, and it's some combination thereof with Equifax, because we all know they have the get-out-of-jail-free cards in the back pocket, all of them, followed with golden parachutes. So when someone showed up looking at the Monopoly guy sitting behind the Equifax dude doing testimony, we were so pleased.
I believe it was a comedian.
Yes.
A lady comedian.
Yes.
Just Google Equifax Monopoly, and you'll get images and video. Just top hat, monocle, the whole thing, just behind him.
It's funny.
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. So that was part of the entertainment. The other things going on. So people have asked me a lot about going to school. And I've ranted about it, but I was actually thinking, because it came up, I was just on another podcast as a guest, and which all programming languages briefly came up that I know. Like, oh, did you go to school for programming? I'm like, well, actually, I did. Back in 1993. I learned in 1992 and then in 93 Turbo Pascal. If anyone's heard of it, and there's some old graybeard going, I still have my book from it. And I also learned COBOL programming. So
how long has it been since you have used Turbo Pascal?
1992.
So you learned it and then never used it?
Yeah, I never. This was my. I learned it in 10th grade.
Yeah. Okay. And then it promptly became extinct.
Yes.
Like a year later.
I think it was obsolete when I learned it.
Well, 10th grade. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
I think COBOL's probably still somewhat useful, maybe.
Nah, well, I mean, COBOL died in the 70s, but there was a resurgence of need for programmers to migrate data off of COBOL that ran on the big servers and everything else. So there was that.
What other languages do you speak?
Ooh, mostly I am a script kiddie. I speech.
That's so cute.
Yeah, no, I know Stack Exchange. It's called copy paste. I Google how do I do a thing. I look at the code and go, I bet that works, and I copy and paste. And if you copy and paste enough things, you end up with a thing that works. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, whatever works for you.
I know. Control C, Control V. This is my favorite programming language. It's my favorite programming language. Okay, so the nice thing, once you learn programming in general, and I've learned, actually I do know BASIC as well, and QBasic.
Oh, wow, okay.
I hacked the Gorilla program because everyone used to do the Gorilla program, and I modified it. That was an awesome one. You threw bananas. How can you go wrong with a game where you throw bananas?
You can't.
You can't.
Absolutely.
Throwing bananas.
Unless you make the gorilla throw barrels at a plumber who's trying to rescue the princess.
I wonder if that's what the inspiration was. Like, they're going to have a girl throwing bananas because there was a really popular plumber and a gorilla and a donkey. But then again, you go back to the deep question. Wait a minute. It's called Donkey Kong with a gorilla.
Well, but that was his name.
I know.
I mean, who named the gorilla Donkey Kong? I don't know, but...
Well, you can Google it.
I want to know, actually. I mean, that has been the question throughout all of my childhood. I just never thought of now to Google it.
Well, if we had Google when we were kids, we'd be a lot smarter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because now we used to have to ask our parents, and depending on the parent, they would either make something up, which would certainly be my grandpa's response for majority of things.
Yeah.
He didn't want to ever be wrong or not
Yeah.
know something, so I probably have a lot of bad information in my head. It's taken
certainly.
years to get out.
Oh,
He's
certainly.
a really smart guy, but even when he didn't have an answer, he had an answer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My dad, same thing. Yeah. Smart guy, but I thought he knew everything.
Yeah, he certainly had an answer for everything.
Sure did.
Yeah, and this is my children. Dad, what's the thing? And I'm like, and they're like, no, I already Google gave me the right answer. Never mind, Dad.
Exactly. Google it. That's the dad phrase now. Dad, what's the Google it?
Just Google
I don't
it.
know. Just Google it. You know what? This sounds like a learning opportunity. Why don't you look up that information yourself?
Yes,
And
we
then
can discuss
report
it.
back to me. That's how you play that one.
Yes. Oh, now I know on to the other thing I want to talk about. So I spent about 8 hours migrating servers
Well, that sounds like fun.
until you undo 8 hours of migrating servers and put it all back the way you found it at about midnight on a Saturday. But I did learn a lot of things. So I'm working on doing, and there's a server over here that's one of the things on the table because of the temp location of one of the servers. The whole concept of I'm migrating over everything to Zen server. I got overly ambitious trying to program and migrate Zen. Trying to migrate all the virtual machines at the same time and dealing with new problems that were unexpected. But the good news is all this is going into a video. So I am working actively on producing a very in-depth virtualization video. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited to do the video. It's going to be probably one of my more in-depth videos of how it all works. And I got even more in-depth solving problems. And then I started working on problems that didn't exist because it turns out there was a problem with a board. And so discovering that problem sent me down a rabbit hole of chasing my tail for a few hours. But I've come out of it much smarter. I like to think so. I may not. I may be just as dumb as when I went. Like, I have not gained any knowledge other than I misplaced a Saturday, but I'm trying to justify why I spent all this time on a Saturday, like 8 continuous hours working on something.
When you could have just Googled it.
I could, Google, Stack Exchange, trust me, everything. I had 3 screens full of tabs open and, sorting out where all the data was going and what was wrong and troubleshooting problems that turned out to be actually a processor problem, oddly enough.
Oops.
Yeah, so, but interesting.
But now it's the more you know.
Some more we know. I had everything taken apart on this table and back in the server rack and back out of the server rack. I put it all back the way it was when I found it. So now we have a new plan. But part of it too is it's not just the server migration. It's upgrading everything over to a 10 gigabit backplane. I had posted the picture that instead of gigabit, there's 10 gigabits. So this is actually going to be all on a 10 gigabit iSCSI setup. So like I said, there's a lot to everything I did, and all the structure that I designed and knowledge I gained setting up iSCSI and everything else is going to be part of a whole bigger video of how to build your own storage network with FreeNAS and things like that. I wore the FreeNAS shirt today. Not just because I spilled something on the other shirt, but because the FreeNAS people are sending us a TrueNAS box that should be here soon that we're going to be testing and doing some more fun FreeNAS videos with that. They're sending us a fully loaded one to destroy, essentially. So
Sweet.
We get to test it, not physically destroy, but just show some of the redundancy and resilience of RAID and do things you always wondered. Could this thing survive it? But I don't know if I want to pull that drive out right now. We will pull the drive out.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, I may tie the server in if it has. I think it has a 10 gigabit SAN card in it, and I may do part of my demo server on it as part of the video. I'm like, hey, cool, I'll test it on the actual TrueNAS one. That might be kind of fun to play with.
Two birds, one stone.
2 birds, 1
Yay.
stone. So as you know, last week I was at Microsoft Ignite. It was exhausting and fun, and I had a great time. It was a wild adventure seeing how they manipulate and move 30,000 people around to all the different venues and talking to people. I thought it was cool. Some of the people that we talk to at Microsoft that we report to, so to speak, because they're the people that brought us there. So they lined up all the podcasts and gave us something to schedule because I was there on the Microsoft show. And I'm not afraid to make some awkward faces in there. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't agree with Steve Ballmer and things like that. Like I brought up, so to speak, what you can call hot button or political topics in Microsoft. But, you know, that's part of why we're there, is not to just ask the same generic questions, but to bring out some difference of opinion. And it's really interesting to see how they're embracing things. They're such a huge company. And I think people have a hard time understanding the scale of the company. I mean, to think that just an event around the company brings 30,000 people.
Right.
The scale of that company is pretty unimaginable. I mean, it's very, very, they're Fortune 100, I believe, so they may be Fortune 50.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would absolutely think so. I mean, they have to be one of the...
Is Microsoft a Fortune 100 company? This thing where we can just answer stuff. Yeah. Yep. Fortune rankings. Well, we'll throw the actual results over here.
Yeah.
But
So they're 100, they're not 50?
I don't know if they're Fortune 50 if they show up in the one. So, but anyways, I'll get the list and we'll throw the answer here later, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But so the imaginal scale of the company and things like that's really interesting. And when it comes down to it comes down to a quote I've always liked from Howard Stern.
Okay.
I know Marvin's like, I'm all ears.
Now I got to hear it. All right.
Now I got to hear it. Howard Stern made a comment at one point where he said, I never want to meet the people I make fun of because I might like them. And I think it's so easy from the forum posts we do of I hate Microsoft. And we actually discussed on our last Sunday Morning Linux Review podcast the whole Revolution OS. And it really was this us versus them. But we looked at Microsoft as them, and we would tag at the time because of the era. This was in the early 2000s, late 90s. We tagged it as Bill Gates is the enemy. So we had an enemy. We had a face we could put to it. But that face employs 100,000 more people. And when you meet and do the individual stories like we were doing, so what we concentrated on, like we would start talking about them, not Microsoft. So we started with the person that we're interviewing, talk about their personal, what are your thoughts on software development and things like that. So we make it very personal. It's not about what the company did. It's about what they do. What is their hobby? Matter of fact, that's one of the reasons I covered the little Build Bunny project. Was one of the little side projects that Martin Woodward's working on. So it's really cool. And that's what's very interesting to me is you start breaking it down. I can't hate these people took a job at a company so they could have the resources to solve big challenging things that is important to them in the software development life cycle, and so they could have an influence on this big giant behemoth of a company. So it's very interesting that, the company may believe one thing, but it's to change from within, and people are like, oh no, you can't change from within.
That's how you change.
That's exactly how. You can't just say, we're just going to turn the lights off on Microsoft. That's not going to happen.
Right.
You'd rather have all these people in place and share their stories, and it may get other people excited. And it's really interesting because there's some really heavy hitters from the open source community that have now taken positions at Microsoft, and that of course has them taking a lot of crap from the open source community. But they're kind of like, they're principled people. They didn't go there because someone waved a check in front of them. Lots of places wave a check in front of these people. They had an interest in steering the ship and changing some of the dynamics of the company. So, but it made a very interesting time there at the whole Microsoft Ignite conference. So it was really cool to see everything and experience a lot of the stuff and all that fun. So,
I'm sure it was. I was watching your videos and it looked very, very cool.
Yeah. Those fun conversations
that some of us didn't get to go to.
Anyways.
And I believe you were invited to another one, correct?
We are. We have a verbal, but not in writing yet, but it sounds like it's going to happen. We're going to be at the Microsoft Connect conference in New York City, so that's pretty exciting.
Ooh, NYC.
Going to the Big Apple. I ain't been there in a while. So that's kind of cool. I think if I have time when I'm there, I don't know. What else do I do while I'm there? Like, I want to, maybe I'll meet, and there's a few YouTubers there, and I've thought about doing some of that, reaching out to some other YouTube people. Is that something I want to connect with some of them? I'm trying to find maybe a few of them in tech that to connect with. I am friends with, and we actually talked with, online we message each other. We all know each other, which is Willie Howe and from his channel, and Chris from Crosstalk Solutions. They're both really cool, and we all have channels that are very similar in size and the way we're moving things. So we and him talk. All of us talked like we should celebrate because we're all on their way to that 100,000 mark is our goal. We don't know when we're going to hit there, but we all, there are at least a few of them I reached out to, but I want to reach out to even more of the YouTube community and things like that are in the genre that I'm in, which is kind of niche tech stuff. I also want to do more hacking videos. I did one yesterday that I posted on Wi-Fi de-authing. I'm actually going to order a few things too, as I love the people over at Hack5. They have the Bash Bunny, they have the Land Turtle, and the Wi-Fi Pineapple, and all kinds of fun things. So I might get some of their products and really talk about how they can be used, with some of the interest in them. That's actually some of the side hobby stuff that I do myself, is have a fascination and
Breaking into people's Wi-Fi networks is a hobby of yours?
no, showing how it can be done, and showing how you can
It's a good way to
disrupt
market
them.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
And-
not doing it. I'm just showing you how you could do it.
Well, and I go a step further.
Should you
It's,
choose
should you
to.
choose to do this, or should someone choose to do this to your network,
Yeah.
would be a better way to describe it, because if you look at the title, it's Wi-Fi de-authing and how to protect against it.
Well, yeah,
And,
you have to know the process if you're going to protect it, right?
Yeah, you have to know the process you're going to protect against it. Someone had commented, because I know Chris did a video, Chris from Crosstalk did one on the Fing, which uses ARP spoofing. And so I may do a video on how to protect your network against ARP poisoning, ARP spoofing, which there's some limited ways you can do it, but there are methodologies you can do. And that's some of the stuff I want to, I like some of those deep network things, and it's in my head, so why not share it with you? If it's in my head, why not get it out of my head?
Would you call something that protects against art spoofing a Garfunkel?
Ooh.
No?
No.
Maybe not.
And it's
All right.
ARP.
Whatever.
Yeah,
The
whatever.
joke works if it's ART.
The joke works if it's ART. I also got a new toy.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we're actually playing with here. It's a GoPro in a case, like a aluminum thing. One of those weird things I found on Craigslist of all places. So I was looking at this, and this actually has a purpose. Now, I like the camera I'm using. I love it, and I know a lot of vloggers use it. The problem really comes down to that. It's kind of bulky. Like, hats off to Casey Neistat. He carries the damn thing around so much and goes everywhere, but I found it actually kind of troublesome to use. So this, being really small, easily fits in my laptop backpack, and I'm going to be able to take it on site. I'm going to get another microphone, because the GoPro supports external microphones, and I'll have that as a small mount, so it's something really easy for me to carry. And I want to take it like when we do some of the on-site building work and infrastructure work, because I know there's a lot of interest in it. And it's really weird. It's like, I don't think of it as super interesting. I mean, it's interesting, but I didn't realize you would find this interesting. So I noticed when we did at least one small video. So we have a big project coming up. If the man lift ever arrives, yeah, then we get to use the man
I'm only
lift.
supposed to be there a week
I
ago.
love. Yeah, I was supposed to be there a week ago. Man lifts are cool.
They are. They really are. Especially when you're up like 30 feet and driving it.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It is.
Well, I'm not doing that. But
Yeah, I get excited. I kind of like, in my staff, I climbed up. I'm like, how do you drive it? And he showed me, and I'm like, I'm driving a man lift. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm also paying for the man lift. I should be able to drive it.
Yeah, right.
But there's still like the part of me that says I shouldn't be allowed to operate this, even though I rented it. Like, I don't really trust myself. It seems like I'm going to do something dumb with this.
you paid the security deposit. What the heck?
I did drive it inside of a restaurant.
That's pretty awesome.
That was pretty cool. I only moved it a little bit. I was so nervous. I'm like, there was this entire giant glass shelf of whiskey in this restaurant, and we were putting, well, I say we. My company was putting cameras up. My staff was driving around giant bottles of glass shelves of whiskey, driving a man lift through a restaurant at 2 a.m. Those are things I guess are kind of fun. And I guess
Sure,
maybe
yeah.
not everyone gets to do that. I had
mean,
a lot of fun doing it,
It's
though.
fun. It's fun as long as you don't crash into the whiskey.
Yeah, as long as you don't-
it could be fun if you crash into the whiskey. What the heck?
Yeah, we want it all on video.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It's either going to be an epic win or an epic fail video. It was actually
mean-
an epic win, so they did a good job with
Even
it.
if you crash into it, now you have an open case of whiskey.
Open case of
Oops,
whiskey.
Sorry. We'll take care of that. Glug, glug, glug.
It's one of the things, I really do enjoy all the variety of things. Because some people say, you do too many things or whatever. And I think I've said this many times before. I think the worst advice I ever get is to focus on one thing. I'm like, that sounds horrifically boring. It's, do one thing, what?
You might get more done, but who cares about that?
Who cares about that? I like jumping between projects. The Slack channels I'm jumping between might be a wiring project, a consumer thing that I'm watching that's going on at the retail store, Wi-Fi thing, and then I've got my YouTube channel where I'm talking about hacking Wi-Fi, and then I'm jumping back to doing infrastructure for cameras. I'm fine with all these things because it just seems to fit my psyche better and makes me smile. So
By psyche, he means mental illness.
The mental illness, that is me. My response, and, I'm not nearly as successful as Mr. Elon Musk, but my response is there's a dude who is revolutionizing solar panels while building cars that beat Ferraris that also seat 4 passengers, while at the same time making reusable rockets that land on floating platforms in the water. I'm not that scale, but I can appreciate the variety of things that he does.
And doing all of that just so he can retire on Mars.
And his retirement plan's Mars.
Yeah.
And you say you should only focus on one thing. If that's your thing, cool.
He's focused on one thing.
He's going to Mars. The guy is going to Mars.
All of these things are just to test out his various ways of getting and moving around on Mars.
Well, then there's his boring company.
His boring company?
Yeah, that's what he named it, the boring company. He's boring tunnels under things. So,
he
but
in
that's
LA
also
or
because
something?
Was that? Yeah,
LA,
because
I think?
he wants to be able to go places faster.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like traffic. He can't be like the other billionaires and just get a helicopter.
Well, no, because that's what everybody else did.
Yeah, Elon's not like that.
He's like, you go up, I go down. Ha ha, zig and zag, buddy.
Zig and zag, buddy. Zig and zag.
Yeah.
So
Tom brought back some cool toys.
Oh, yeah, we got these.
From his conference, which is, I haven't played with one of these in a long
So you ready,
time.
Merv?
Whoa.
Well,
There it
Urban
goes.
did better to me. That is gone.
Whoops. So we're going to race these against the drone later, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to play with those in the freaking lot.
I didn't do that.
Oh, man, that's fun.
Yeah.
So I'll be updating the Launch Systems blog with links to all the videos and things like that. I'm also, the other podcast I was on, I was a guest on Monday, was Security Jabber, and they jabber about security, kind of at a high level. Their target audience might be somewhat technical, but some of the decision makers in IT. So if you're interested in listening and hearing me on a podcast, it's I believe it's securityjabber.com. I'll throw links in there for it. I don't think the episode's published yet, but it might be published maybe by the time I publish this. I'm going to message them and find out when it's going to be online if you want to hear me jabber on about security. Great guys over there. There's some really smart people. I pull up and one of the license plates read Red Team. I'm like, yeah, there's security guys like through and through. I love those. Are just great people for me to be around because they're fun to talk to. And we talked about some stuff. One of the things that we did talk about that was kind of fun was the ticket trick. And what ticket trick is a hacking method a guy came up with to get into companies' help desks, which is just mind-blowing and really interesting. I tweeted about it. So if you follow me on the Twitters, by the way, follow me on the Twitters if you care. It's also where I publish some of the other things too. For those of you that, because I realize I'm going to run into a problem. I think there's a number of friends I can have on Facebook. I think there's a limit.
Yeah, there is. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
It's a few thousand, but
yeah, and I realize
they can still follow you. They just can't be your friend.
Right. Anyways,
Which I don't know.
So if you're not into
difference is,
Facebook,
but-
I try to post a lot on Twitter. It's one of those, I would post more, but I don't have more followers. But then I'm like, oh yeah, if I don't post a lot, I'm never gonna get followers. So chicken egg, chicken egg, chicken egg.
Right, yeah.
And
Catch
I'm like
22
years
and
behind.
all
Like
that.
everyone else conquered Twitter long before Tom goes, what's a Twitter? Well, I knew what a Twitter was, and then I just didn't go there.
Well, aren't they? They're upping the character limit, I think, on Twitter.
Yeah,
They're doubling it, I think, now.
They are working on doubling it. Apparently, that's to help diplomatic relations with other countries. Is my feeling.
That would be my thought. Some countries don't know what ... means.
Yeah.
It means more to come, just so you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
But when you just read the thing.
There was that Twitter account, Crap My Dad Says.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That one was...
It wasn't really crap, my dad says, but you can fill in what...
Yeah. But
if you go looking for it.
I love that when the dad asked... It was my favorite. I'm not a big fan like that they tried to turn into a TV series with William Shatner. I think it was all a fail. I don't think it was very funny, but there was a line that I loved, and I could so picture my grandfather saying this. You know, the son's like taking a picture of food, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Posting a picture of my food online on Twitter." He goes, "Why would you do that?" And he goes, "I realized he had me at that point."
Yeah, there's no answer to that question.
There's no answer to that question. Why would you do that? I got nothing.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Never mind.
Excellent question. I kind of felt that way about Twitter. Why would I only want to type 40 characters? I can type more everywhere else I go. So
Yeah.
for some reason, mentally, I said, I had my grandfather in the back here. Why would you only post 140? Was the internet's bigger than that? And I understand all the constraints. I understand all the reasoning why. And I understand, was it Robert Frost and his typing of poetry and constraints, and he's got an entire write-up about that. I mean, it's all fascinating to me. I get it. But I still, back even when in BBS days, I've been typing more than 140 characters, so I shall continue to do so.
Yeah, a little more long-winded than that.
A little bit more long-winded than that. And with that, we are wrapping up Vlog Thursdays.
Let's
There's
do
like
it.
work to do and things to do, and there's like stuff. So we have some things to accomplish.
All right, so
You ready?
See ya.
Yep, see ya. Nailed it.